so naturally. Alrighty, shall we get started with Not a Hero?
I'm good if you're good.
Alright, cool. I wasn't sure if you guys had to change any titles or anything like that. Titles, estimates, things like that.
Already been changed. We're all good, ready to go.
Cool, awesome. So yeah, we just finished Resident Evil 7. We finished the main game here, and we saw Chris Redfield pop up at the end of the game. Yeah, this is actually his story. He pops up at the end of the game. He saves Ethan. He would save Mia if everyone saved Mia, but no, everyone decided to save Zoe. No, but for real, canon, he saves Mia and Ethan, and then he goes and explores. He explores a little bit. He tries to see, like why this mold has happened, if there was a source for it, something like that. So he's gonna go in. He's actually gonna go into the salt mines that we were just at, and we're gonna figure out the rest of the story here. And not just that. Remember last time we saw Lucas, we saw him in the barn, he was on the TV, he was throwing some traps at us. If you were maybe disappointed playing main game and you're just like, what happened to Lucas? Why did we have this crazy character who was actually, kind of intriguing because, we've already fought some of the other crazy Baker family. We fought Jack, we fought Marguerite, but we didn't fight Lucas. So, you may or may not see that here. It expands upon Lucas a little bit. So yeah, if you were disappointed you didn't get to see more of Lucas, you get to see more of him here. And not just that, I did switch my language over to French. We're still running the censored version. Any language besides English saves about half a second. But if people are here from my community, they know that I love the way that Lucas says "oops" in the French language here. So yeah, that's the only reason I'm putting that up here.
That's great.
Yeah, I love Lucas's French voice actor, and yeah, at the beginning when we see a cutscene, he'll say "oops," and the way he says "oops" is just hilarious. So yeah, I know my community is expecting it. For those who haven't seen this, you might like how he says it, but yeah. Again, we're running New Game Easy, and time actually does not start when we hit the difficulty like it does in main game. It will actually start after we skip this cutscene. So we're gonna go ahead and, skip the movie rather, because, the only thing we can skip in Resident Evil 7 are these, fully rendered out movies. So yeah, 3, 2, 1, yeah, it already went, sorry. As soon as the cutscene, as soon as like the black fades away and all that stuff, the timer goes. And as you see, we're here in the salt mines here. We were just here earlier with Ethan. Now we have to find Lucas. Now, when we first found Ethan in main game, he didn't have a whole lot on him, but since we're Chris Redfield, we're part of the BSAA, we have combat training, we're kitted out here with quite a few things here. We have a survival knife, we have that Albert pistol that we saw at the end of the game earlier. It doesn't have super powerful bullets, but it does have some bullets. We have a crazy shotgun called Thor's Hammer, and we also have 5 grenades. Not just that, we also have some heals and stuff like that. But before we can see the rest of that, we have a little cutscene playing. Uh-oh. Lucas, disguised as one of our men? Wait for it.
Oops.
Oops. I know that's not a big deal, but I love how he says it. Whew.
Ça vaut aussi pour tes petits copains soldats, hein? Adios. Muchachos.
When you've ran Resident Evil 7 for quite a while, and you've ran this particular category for a couple years, you find any little thing that makes you happy. When you spend, like, hundreds of hours in a game, you just find those little things that make you happy, such as, playing in a different language and stuff like that. So that's the one thing. Alrighty. So, our goal here is to find Lucas. Not only that, we also have to rescue some of our friends, some of Chris's squad that came here with us. You may have noticed as well, this logo called Blue Umbrella popped up. Now, If you're familiar with the Resident Evil series, Umbrella is not a good company at all. They were the cause of the whole T-virus outbreak. They did really horrible experiments, and they weren't good. They were not good at all. But why is there Blue Umbrella? Why is Chris working with Umbrella? So Blue Umbrella is essentially, you know, it's a rebranded Umbrella, and they're not evil anymore. Essentially, they formed Blue Umbrella to essentially atone for their sins of the old Umbrella and stuff like that. So, you know, we have employees working there like this lady that we're talking to who just, you know, just want to help and, you know, fight bioterror like, you know, Chris and the BSAA are doing. You may have seen also that we came here to, you know, we're in another part of the salt mine here. This kind of brings us to a deeper cavern of sorts. Not just that, I moved all of my inventory items here to the corner. Remember how I said that menuing is very, very important in Resident Evil speedruns, Resident Evil 7 speedruns? Well, in Not a Hero, it's still important, but we don't utilize the full menu like we usually do in New Game. We just utilize those first 2 slots there. So it's not as in-depth or, you know, as crazy like it is in main game, but, you know, it's still important. So first thing we're gonna do is save our friend from this jail cell. We didn't talk to him, but we do know we have to save him. So before we do that, we're actually gonna grab a key, and to get that key, we have to use a gear and a crank. Oh my goodness. You don't want to walk by that crank though, or have a long animation pole like that. My bad, folks. Alright, can we get it before these guys attack us? We did not. Okay, get out of here. That was my bad. Is Mama? Oh no, Mama's coming! Shoot, this is not good. This is not good at all, actually. Maybe I should retry. I don't remember where it gets us there. Let's see. Okay, good. Right here. Redo! Alright. I was gonna say, that was my bad for... I essentially walked past that crank. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to walk by any of that or walk by the gear or anything. We all know when it comes to speedruns and stuff like that, or especially when it comes to speedrun marathons, we have very silly things happening, so yeah. We'll just chalk that up to speedrun luck. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so if we do that quick enough, we have to move our camera right here. If we do that quick enough, these molded shouldn't attack us. There we go. Yep, now we got that here. Max distance. We shouldn't get run over by Mama Molded, and there we go. All right. Yeah. Apologies about that retry earlier. That was very silly, but also very funny. Alrighty, now that we have that key, we're gonna go save our friend. We have the key that we need. Whew. Alrighty. If we have any donations, this is a good time to read them.
All right. I unfortunately don't have any more donations to read, which is, you know, I'm disappointed with that, chat. Come on. Make me actually have to do some work here and not just enjoy all the great speedrunning that I'm watching. I kind of want to do a little bit of work here.
Je suis juste un appât. Tu t'es fait avoir.
Quoi?
And that's okay. You're still doing a fine job.
Am I oohing and eyeing in all the right spots?
You are. Absolutely. You're giving great input as well. Alright, so we came to rescue our friend, but are we really gonna save him? Unfortunately not. And again, we are running on that Japanese censored version from earlier. Usually this guy gets his head sliced off, and like we said, Japan doesn't like decapitation. So his head explodes, but he doesn't lose his head, which is very interesting. But yeah, we take his gas mask, his filter. Well, we're already wearing a gas mask, but we take his filter because we cannot proceed into the next area without that. Now, in this cavern, there are 3 areas, 3 main areas. We were just in one. We are heading to the second one. And we do have to do it in this specific order because you cannot proceed to the next area without specific items. So we can't proceed into this area without our filter. We can't proceed to the, you know, area after this without night vision. And trust me, if you try to get into these areas without those important items, Chris will die, or, you know, he won't, like, in this part here, there's like a ton of like mold in the air and stuff like that. And, well, actually, since we have our filter, you won't see our health go down, but if you don't have that filter, your health will just start to deplete, and he'll eventually die, and yeah, so. We also get introduced to some new enemies called Fumers. They are essentially a superpower molded monster. They cannot die to normal ammo. They only die to this ammo called ramrods. And we're actually on our way to pick up ramrods, but we're not going to kill these guys. As you can tell, they're moving a little bit slow, so we can squeeze right by them, no problem. But if they attack you, they will do a lot of damage to you. Even though we're playing on easy, it's been a long time since I played on normal and the other difficulties and things like that, but they do so much damage. So we just want to make sure to go right by them there. And now we picked up our night vision. We can't proceed to this area unless, can't proceed into any dark area, rather, if we don't have this night vision. Because, you know, when it's too dark, we can't interact with things or see things or anything like that. So the game won't let you proceed. That puzzle solution is always the same. Again, no RNG. The only RNG are the crates. And I actually didn't mention this in main game. I did mention the crates in main game, that they were RNG, but just Resident Evil 7 in general doesn't have a lot of RNG when it comes to, you know, enemy spawns, boss fights, things like that. You know, it's a very chill run in that aspect. It's not as chill once you start optimizing your time and going for like top 10, top 5 world record, things like that. But, you know, if you're ever interested in running a Resident Evil game, or, you know, running like a first-person type speedrun, things like that, Resident Evil 7 is a very awesome beginner-friendly speedrun. Alrighty. You know, Chris can punch boulders. He's quite a hefty guy. He can also tank damage from turrets, which is quite crazy. He cannot tank damage from these turrets up here, though, so we throw a grenade up there to to get rid of that. Because yeah, those turrets up there, they will fire in the blink of an eye, and you will be very upset if you go up here without destroying them. So, as you saw, we did another FPS swap. Oops. We do another FPS swap to squeeze by those molded that spawn. And honestly, you know, we have plenty of shotgun ammo. I don't do that because, you know, I'm in fear of running out of ammo, because as you can tell, we have plenty of it, and we pick up more later and stuff like that. It's just, you know, it's just faster to squeeze by them rather than, you know, shoot them and things like that. When Chris fires this particular shotgun, his movement slows down a little bit, but yeah, not just that, you know. It's easier just to squeeze by people rather than kill them. You guys like lasers? Anyone a fan of Resident Evil 4? Resident Evil 4, first Resident Evil film, things like that. Because if you're a fan of lasers, there's our first preview of them. Now, really cool in this particular DLC, and when you're controlling Chris Redfield, Chris has he has the ability to parry, so he can essentially block block attacks and things like that, block explosions, things like that. So if you time a block at the right moment, he will, instead of like, you know, slowing down and holding his hands up, he'll just kind of punch the air. Something very silly. So it's definitely quicker than blocking. You just have to make sure to time it at the right moment. So you know, we only do those 2 parries right there in New Game Easy here, but I think, yeah, if you run knife only or some other of the more difficult categories like professional and things like that, you utilize those parries way more. Also, you guys know when you grab a key item and then a bunch of monsters spawn? That's exactly what happens here. So let's go away as soon as possible. Alrighty. Again, lasers. I hope you like them, because we're about to see a ton of them.
Hey, ça va?
And I'm gonna be very quiet here, just because just because this part's a little scary. If you touch any laser, just one laser, this whole room will explode and Chris will die. So let's do that. There we go. Cool. All right. You can actually do that part a little bit faster than I did. You saw that I stood up at a couple times. You can actually stand up a third time, or you know, you can crouch a little bit earlier. But just to play it safe, we stayed crouched for a few moments, a few more moments.
Merci.
The main reason we're here is to save our friend, one of our friends here. Yeah, you don't want to interact with your friend while the lasers are still around, because Lucas will kill you both. He'll point all the lasers at you and then you'll die. So you want to be sure to deactivate the lasers first and then interact with your friend, because yeah, we don't want this whole room to explode. That's not good. That's not good at all. Alrighty.
Par ici. On doit pouvoir sortir par en haut.
So we saved our friend, right?
Dis-moi que c'est pas vrai.
Right?
Merde! Merde!
No.
Enlève-moi ce truc! Non!
I guess not. Oh no. Alrighty. So yes, we did not, we found the 3 missing soldiers, but unfortunately Chris could not save them all. So, oh no, Chris. He is not a hero like the game has said. Alrighty. Now we may have remembered at the beginning of the game when we saw that opening cutscene, Lucas strapped a bomb onto Chris's wrist right here, and Lucas waited until now to activate that bomb. So we have about 10 minutes to deactivate it. I hope we have enough time to do so, because if not, then Chris will die. Does everyone else think we have enough time to save him? Probably. But yeah, we have to go deactivate this bomb by finding some nitrogen. Liquid nitrogen, that is. Thankfully, it's not super far from here. We actually have the key to reach that particular part there. A ton of molded spawn, but like I said, we can just run by them, no problem. We could kill them if we wanted to, you know, few shots to the head, something like that. But yeah, we don't have to. We don't have to. Tons of other molded and fumers and things of that nature will spawn up here, but yeah, like I said, we're not gonna kill them. Those fumers attack slow enough so we can go right by them. Sometimes this crawler right here can be a little stubborn, but thankfully he jumped back and didn't annoy us. So good stuff. Now before we reach our liquid nitrogen, you know, it's not that easy, right? You know, the game has to throw you something, has to throw you a little curveball, because the nitrogen's right there. But conveniently, that part gets blocked off and we get met with Mama Molded here. Remember that big molded that spawned at the beginning? Oh goodness. Sorry. Quiet time to focus. We're trying to do all headshots here. We want to make sure that we reload before it reaches 0, because or else we'll have a long reload animation. And we killed her with 1 shot to spare, which is really good. So, good stuff. Good stuff. Very quick fight there. We don't get to see this if we kill her fast, but she spawns a bunch of these like little baby moldeds and stuff like that. So that's why she's the Mama Molded. She has a bunch of children, but we kill her fast enough to where we don't see them because they're very annoying. They're like little face huggers from Alien. Cool. There goes that bomb. We definitely had enough time to deactivate it. If we have any donations or we wanted a blurb reminder, this is a good time for that as well.
Oh, I do have a couple donations.
Cool.
I have a $20 donation from Shadow and Cygnus that says "Go Mar Go."
Thank you, Shadow.
And I'm laughing at this donation not because of the comment, but because of the name of the donator, I have a $5 donation from Kevin McAllister.
Oh god, oh goodness.
Hey, I'm not afraid anymore. I said I'm not afraid anymore. Do you hear me? I'm not afraid anymore.
Oh goodness. Did you guys hear that? Kevin's not afraid anymore. That's actually great.
Yeah, I saw that whole thing. I'm like, that's awesome.
So, that key, one of the keys that we grabbed earlier activates this giant vault of sorts. Once we get past this vault, we'll be able to find Lucas, because there's a hidden lab back there. But it's not going to be that easy. Like I said, the game has to throw you a curveball. The game's not just going to let you go to the end without a little bit of a test here. So anytime you see the game throw a bunch of ammo and health at you, usually that means something, right? It usually means you have something going on. So yeah, this is the vault. Once Lucas stops talking, we're going to have a bunch of molded spawns, so we have to kill them as soon as they spawn, usually a shot to the knee and a shot to their head. This is all about getting quick death animations here. Oops, my bad, didn't block him there. It may seem very random, but yeah, we unfortunately didn't. We got slow death animations there. Oops, my bad. I always forget. I was de-rusting this run earlier, and I always forget about that guy, so my bad. Alrighty. But yeah, we unfortunately got some slow death animations there. If you shoot them, you know, at the quickest possible moment, and make sure you time your shots well, this actually is not as much RNG or anything like that. It's a common thought that people think this section is RNG, but as long, oops, my bad. As you can tell, we're not getting the shots down as quickly or anything like that. Oops, excuse me, folks. Wow, how did you not die? So silly. You need to die, sir? Wow. Should not take 3 shots to kill that guy, but that's okay. Alrighty. We're not done yet. We are not done yet. We have 2 big boys coming in. And there's 1. There's 2. And that's all Chris wrote. Or rather, that's all Lucas wrote. Alright, cool. Cool.
Ok.
Alright.
C'est fini, d'accord?
Good stuff.
Plus rien en stock.
So yeah, it wasn't the quickest vault that we did there, but yeah, as long as we just throw all of our shotgun ammo at them, and you may notice we did use some of our ramrods there. We used the ramrods on Mama Molded too, mainly because those kill molded very, very quickly. It kills the Fumers in 1 shot, and then, you know, it does a lot of damage to, you know, molded with a lot of health. Also, Lucas is about to blow this whole vault sky high. That's not good. We did find a convenient exit though, so good on you, Chris. But in typical villain fashion, Lucas pulls a Dr. Evil and doesn't watch his nemesis die or anything like that. He just conveniently goes away. Doesn't want to watch Chris die or anything. We were able to escape though. Alright, cool. Now we're at an underground mine. Sorry. We are already at an underground mine. We are at an underground lab. Because everyone knows that any Resident Evil game is not complete without a lab of sorts. We did see that little makeshift lab earlier in main game, but this is more of the... definitely more of a detailed lab of sorts. There's a, you know, official, it's an actual building, things like that. Also, wait. Why Lucas is surprised that we survived, I have no idea. He didn't watch us die. Why is he surprised? What a silly man. Alrighty, we're in the home stretch of this run though. Like I said earlier, when the game starts throwing you a bunch of ammo, powerful ammo at that. Not just that, well, I'm not sure if we picked up some health here. I think some of the RNG crates have them. But yeah, we got ramrods. We have over 100 shotgun shells. We have tons of handgun ammo. But we're just going to use our 13 ramrods here and our shotgun for this. All right, that is all we wrote for Lucas for now. Remember when I said if you were itching for a Lucas boss fight in main game and you were disappointed? You may not be disappointed here because Lucas is mutating. You know what happens when normal humans mutate? We have to fight them. Oh god. That's not good. This is the strangest part of this whole thing. Lucas mutates, and then Chris falls asleep. Or he closes his eyes, he blacks out, something happens. Do you think he had a mold reaction or something? Maybe. Alright. Anyways. This is the Lucas fight. He will bust out of this moldy cocoon. We'll push him over here a little bit. We have to do some shots at very specific points. So... he has iframes here. We're gonna wait. There we go. 2, 4. Alright. He was a little far away there, so he might take his time getting up here. Alright, cool. We're gonna do one shot to his head. Ow! Stand at a specific spot so we can get him to bait a specific attack. Alright, he should go into his third... Oh! I was gonna say, he should go into his third phase, but not without attacking us. What a meanie. Oop, ow, sir. Oh, nice, okay. Alrighty. Besides a couple of those attacks there that he did, we used all of our ramrods, so that's good. Time will stop when the cutscene starts. And... time.
Woo!
Game over.
Oof. Yeah, that whole little Lucas, that little cutscene with Lucas and his whole face. I remember the first time I played this, I couldn't help but laugh at that face because I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't really paying attention to his face. But wait, hang on a second. We need to transfer some data somewhere, or we need to stop the data from transferring here. We have to shut down the server. But in typical Chris fashion, let's brute force it. We don't need to turn off the computer. He just shoots the server himself. GG's, Chris. Alrighty. I'll go ahead. I'll skip these cutscenes, mainly because, you know, it just wraps up the story there. It shows, you know, them going back at the Baker house and things like that. But yeah, that was Not a Hero. We also go by in-game time here. So yeah, 24 minutes, 49 seconds is our official time. And yes, that was Not a Hero. GG's, folks.
That was fantastic. So much fun. I honestly, I'm not going to lie, when I saw this, I was like, Resident Evil. I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about this. This has been, I didn't even realize 2 hours has gone by. This was so much fun.
I'm glad you enjoyed. I hope everyone else enjoyed as well. Again, thank you so much, Speed Gaming, for having me. I always enjoy doing events with Speed Gaming. Speed Gaming Live is also a really awesome event. I'm not sure if you guys will have one in person this year, but next Speed Gaming Live event that happens, you know, you all should totally attend. Not just that, Speed Gaming also puts on tons of amazing, you know, marathons on the regular and things like that. So, and not just that, feel free to keep watching this current marathon because, you know, every donation goes to No Kid Hungry, such a great cause. But yeah, thank you so much, Speed Gaming, for having me. And Greenleaf, I'm glad you enjoyed. Really glad you enjoyed.
I'm so happy. It was an absolute blast. But before you go, I do have one more donation I want to read for you.
Ooh.
I had a $20 donation from Catlink that says, "Hey baby, Mar, you're doing a great job, and I'm so proud of all the work you put in towards everything you do. Do."
Thank you so much, Kat. Much love and appreciation, BB. Yeah, the do is anytime I stream and there's like any dead air, I always say do. Just it just happens. Like I didn't even realize I did that until people pointed it out. So, oh goodness. But yeah, thank you again for having me, and Greenleaf, thank you again for being such an amazing host. You're doing a great job.
Not a problem. Thank you for allowing me to throw in snide comments here and there.
Of course.